at the Carlisle Cemetery, looking over the hills of Schoharie County. Nice quiet afternoon. In the foreground, we see the marker and final resting place of William E. Roscoe, who will be known to history buffs for writing the last really detailed history of Schoharie County in 1883. And as we swing around, we'll take a look at the first historian in Schoharie County and his final resting place, John M. Brown, who in 1823 wrote the brief sketch of the first settlement of the Germans in Schoharie County. So he was the first one to write down what had been mostly oral history and laid something of a foundation for later historians like Sims and Roscoe and others to write about not only the Revolution but also the colonial period in Schoharie County. But we're going to talk about an adopted son, Thomas Machin. Thomas Machin, he was born in England. He found himself in Boston just prior to the Revolution, where he was a very early opponent of the Crown's policies toward the colonists here. He found himself in the Boston Tea Party and also on Breed's Hill when that was attacked. And not only was he there, but he manned a cannon. He was lieutenant of artillery, but he also helped build the earthworks that protected the men behind it. So he already had a pretty interesting history before the Revolution really got going. And he ends up, because he was an excellent engineer, he caught the eye of General Knox, who made him part of his artillery officer corps, very trusted member. So he would build fortifications and also be a very valuable officer when it came down to actually fighting. And he was very brave, and he was known for gallantly defending his artillery battery during the war. So he wasn't just a he wasn't just a good mathematician or an engineer. He was also a fighter. So when after the British from New York City went up the Hudson River in October of 1777, went past Kingston, which means they made it past West Point. One of the reasons why they were able to do that is because there was a very lightweight chain across the Hudson at West Point, and it was very easily dealt with by the British. They would just break right through it. So afterwards, Machin was employed in making it better. Well, he certainly succeeded. The links, he made 816 links that connected both banks from West Point to Constitution Island. 816 links. These were 2.5 feet long, 2.5 inches thick, and weighed about 100 pounds apiece. So these are substantial chains. And if you go to West Point today, you will actually see parts of this chain where it was moored on West Point Bank. You'll also see more in the museum there. But this is what Thomas Machin is best known for, the Great Chain across the Hudson. Without it, who knows what might have happened with the British coming up from New York City. West Point was the Gibraltar of America at the time. So goes West Point, so goes America. So after the war, Machin becomes a resident of the town of Carlisle, actually helped survey the lines over by the Stoneheap patent, and he ends up being buried here in the Carlisle Cemetery. Again, a very lesser known person who is now resting in Schoharie County, but certainly had a great contribution to the Revolutionary War effort.